It was a stormy winter night when Emily found herself alone at home. Her parents had gone on a last-minute business trip, leaving her, a 16-year-old, in charge of the house. Emily was used to being on her own, but that night was different. The wind howled outside, and the rain battered the windows like 1,000 ghostly fingers. She was watching TV in the living room when she heard a faint creaking noise coming from the hallway. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she turned down the volume. The sound continued like someone was slowly walking towards her. She reached for the phone to call her parents, but the line was dead. Terrified, she grabbed a kitchen knife and slowly made her way to the hallway. Her footsteps echoed in the silence as she moved towards the source of the noise. The creaking grew louder, and Emily's grip on the knife tightened. As she rounded the corner, she gasped in horror. Standing in the dimly lit hallway was a tall, shadowy figure, its back turned to her. Emily's voice trembled as she called out, "Who are you? What do you want?" The intruder didn't respond, but Emily could hear a low, sinister chuckle. Summoning all her courage, Emily lunged forward, ready to confront the intruder. But as she reached the spot where the figure had been, there was nothing there. No one. Emily checked every room, but the house was empty. She was alone once more, but the feeling of unease never left her. Sarah had always been a night owl. She loved the solitude of the late hours when the world was asleep. Her parents often worked night shifts, leaving her alone at home. One night, as she sat in her room reading a book, her phone rang. She glanced at the caller ID. It was her father's number. "Hello?" she answered. "Sarah, it's me." Her father's voice crackled over the line. "I need you to do something for me." Sarah felt a pang of unease. Her father's voice sounded strange, distant. "What is it, Dad?" "I need you to go to the basement and check the circuit breaker. The power went out here, and I need to guide you through resetting it." Sarah hesitated for a moment, her gut telling her something was off. But she trusted her father. She grabbed a flashlight and made her way to the basement. The darkness seemed to swallow her as she descended the creaky stairs. "Okay, Dad, I'm in the basement," Sarah said. "Good," her father replied. "Now you see the electrical panel on the wall, open it up." Sarah shone her flashlight on the panel and slowly opened it. "I see it." "Great," her father continued. "Now you'll need to flip the switch labeled Main Power. It's the one at the bottom." Sarah's hand trembled as she reached for the switch. Just as she was about to flip it, she heard her mother's voice calling her name from upstairs. "Sarah, don't do it. That's not your father." Terrified, Sarah slammed the panel shut and sprinted up the stairs. The call ended abruptly, and she blocked the number. Her mother was waiting at the top of the stairs, pale and wide-eyed. "Your father's still at work," she said, her voice trembling. "That wasn't him on the phone." They called the police, but when they arrived and checked the basement, there was no sign of an intruder. To this day, Sarah shudders at the thought of what might have happened if she had flipped that switch. Tom had always been fascinated by the old mirror in the attic. The mirror was a family heirloom said to be centuries old, and it had an intricate, ornate frame that seemed to whisper secrets of the past. His parents warned him not to touch it, saying it was cursed, but Tom was curious. One evening, as his parents were away for the weekend, Tom decided to take a closer look at the mirror. He climbed up to the attic, flashlight in hand, and stood before the ancient glass. He noticed something odd. His reflection didn't mimic his movements. Frowning, he reached out to touch the glass, and his reflection did the same. But as he moved closer, his reflection's eyes turned pitch black, and it began to grin maliciously. Terrified, Tom stumbled backward, dropping the flashlight. In the pitch darkness, he heard the echoing laughter of his reflection, and he felt cold hands grabbing him from behind. Panicking, he managed to crawl away from the mirror, his heart racing. When he finally found the flashlight and shone it at the mirror, his reflection was back to normal. Shaken, Tom left the attic and never went near the mirror again. His parents returned, and he tried to explain what had happened, but they dismissed it as a vivid nightmare. Tom knew the truth, though, and he couldn't forget the malevolent grin on his reflection's face. I hope you liked tonight's creepy stories. If you enjoyed this video or if you want more, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more weekly horror stories that'll send chills down your spine. Good night, if you dare.